Welcome back. My name is Kyle Porter. Hello, Mosaic Church. Another Monday. Good to see you guys. I've got Kyle Worley and John McHale on our call today. I want to start off with you guys. John, over the weekend, I got a haircut, and when I went to my barber, who is also my wife, I just asked her for the McHale. Can you give me the McHale? How close did I get? Am I in the stadium? Am I in shouting distance to the McHale?
I think so. I think you're on the right track, but I could give you a few tips after we're done with this call.
I was saying that John's hair looks like the wall that free solo guy climbed up. What is it, the Dawn Wall? I mean, it's just very pronounced. It's just sheer rock cliff, really.
That's awesome. So one of the things we want to do on here, besides just encourage the people in Mosaic, and honestly, it's fun for us to get to talk a little bit, but we want to kind of set up the week. And we got a couple different things going on this week. And so, Kyle, I want to talk to you off the top just a little bit about how our Wednesday prayer night this week is going to be not necessarily different, but just kind of the topics that we're going to cover and how that relates to the rest of the week. So what do you envision kind of for our Wednesday night prayer night as it unfolds this week?
Yeah, so for this week, we'll be focusing on praying for our neighbors specifically, because Help Your Neighbor Day is this Saturday, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a minute. But so it'll be a 30-minute prayer time on Wednesday night, which is a little bit shorter. We normally go for about an hour. It'll be 30 minutes from 8 to 8:30, and we'll just jump in, and we'll just be praying specifically for neighbors. And so you can come and bring the names of your neighbors with you, and we'll also just be praying for the people in our community. And so I'll have a few prayer points. It'll be relatively fast-paced on Wednesday night, because we do have Help Your Neighbor Day on Saturday. And so we'll be praying for our neighbors on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. We'd love for you to join us. And this is also, let me just do a little shameless plug. We know that over the last 6 weeks, you've probably felt a little bit of Zoom fatigue. We're doing a lot of video calls. So moving forward, once we get to about mid-May, you'll start to see a new cadence for us. We're on one Wednesday night, we will have a prayer call. The next Wednesday night will be more of a training call, like we've done How to Hear the Voice of the Lord. John's got one coming up on May 7th that is on sharing the gospel. And I mean, people struggle with how to share the gospel, so he'll be doing trainings. We'll be doing some trainings on family discipleship, but you'll start to notice a new cadence. Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock, you'll be able to count on something from Mosaic. It will be a prayer night one week and then a training, and it will go back and forth. But this week, we'll be doing a short 30-minute prayer block for our neighbors. So we'd love for you to join us at 8 o'clock.
And I think, just for clarification real quick, I think we're starting that at 8:30, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry. I said 8 o'clock, didn't I?
Yep. No worries. 8:30 is going to be kind of our new starting point. And that was one of the things we discussed around just everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people on these calls have kids, and we want to provide time to be able to get the kids down. Or if they want to stay up and join us, that's great as well. But move that back a little bit so that our block going forward is 8:30 to 9:30 on Wednesdays. And John, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I know that you've done some work around Help Your Neighbor Day. Max Diner's done a ton of work around Help Your Neighbor Day. So kudos to him for all the effort that he's put in. But just what excites you personally about Help Your Neighbor Day this year, and kind of what's going on, maybe even in your own neighborhood?
Yeah, I think the most exciting opportunity with Help Your Neighbor Day, obviously, is, I'm going to say this, is with GCs. And I know Max and I have talked a lot about just the unique opportunity for GCs to use Help Your Neighbor Day as kind of an access point into relationship in their neighborhoods. And so what I think it does is it really invites us just to take that next step, whether it's going and knocking on a neighbor's door that you have never met, or engaging folks that you know, but you just don't know how to start a relationship with them. It's just an easy way to start that conversation, even if they don't have a project or anything for you to do. It's still kind of forcing and compelling us to go and connect relationally. But this Help Your Neighbor Day is very different from the other Help Your Neighbor Days. And so I think what we're trying to do is just to keep cultivating and keep generating this desire for gospel communities, but even our whole church, to bless our neighborhoods and to pursue just the people right down the street who may be struggling, who may be lost. I mean, I think it's obvious. Everybody is aware that right now people are probably in the most kind of emotional turmoil. It's just a great opportunity to try and serve and bless and love our neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's really good. And, I want to stay on the GC part of this because I know that both you and Kyle have thoughts around just kind of the role that GCs are playing right now. We're in a very different stage than we were in, 2 months ago or 3 months ago. So I just kind of want to get both of y'all's thoughts just around the vision for what GCs are right now, maybe what they're not right now, and just how that can really provide benefit for Mosaic Church at this present moment.
Yeah, I think so. Our vision for gospel communities is that we would be families on mission, that there would be kind of this internal community of brotherly and sisterly affection and love, and that is kind of spilling out into our neighborhoods, into our city, into our relationships. And so I like to think about GCs as having an inward ministry and the ministry of practicing the one another's, that our gospel communities would be saturated with love for one another. The kind of love that Jesus talks about is a witness to the world. People would know that we are followers of Jesus because of the way we love one another. And so there's this inward ministry, but then there's also this outward ministry as we try and really realize what Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians 5 or 2 Corinthians 5, that we are ambassadors for Christ, representing the reign and rule of Jesus. And so we want to be really strategic in thinking about how are we as a gospel community or as a church with gospel communities really making people aware that Jesus is King, that he is reigning and ruling, and that his kingdom is one of love, one of grace, one of justice, one of mercy. And so that's really what our hope is. Now, this is a unique season that we're in. And I think one of the things that's really encouraged me is I feel like our gospel communities have actually been pushed closer together in this season. I know it sounds weird, but I keep hearing from leaders, hey, like we're meeting more than we ever did before because there is this strain and stress placed on our souls in this time. We're feeling just lots of sadness, grief, lots of confusion, disorientation, that we're really trying to lean in and just be connected with people, with other brothers and sisters. And so that's kind of cool to see, is the way that this kind of crisis is really pushing us together. But it also is a really unique opportunity. And there are lots of challenges that we're facing when we think about the outward ministry of mission with gospel communities. But there's a huge opportunity online. There's a huge opportunity as the shelter in place is lifted to just be present with the people around us, because it's just a great opportunity, because after something like this, people are just asking tons of questions. They're even asking questions now. And so just really see lots of opportunities for gospel communities in the future here.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to echo that, I think gospel communities have never been more strategically significant for Mosaic than they are right now. And especially as the shelter in place lifts and we can start to gather in groups of 10, 20, 50 or less in wise and prudent ways that are specific to our unique life circumstances and life stages, then we feel like, wow, GCs have a really incredible opportunity to love one another, to engage in social in-person interaction and not just calls. And so, yeah, there's just an incredible opportunity. John's done a great job. GC leaders have been given a sliding scale to think about every phase of reopening in light of a few considerations. And so we hope that they will be able to think creatively about that. We want to help. So
I want to jump in on one thing real quick that you said there, John, because I know it's something that all of us have talked about recently, and that's just kind of the I can't remember the words you used, but the sorrow and sadness that people are feeling from all of this, and why it's important to kind of embrace that and allow yourself to feel that a little bit as we kind of move into the future.
Yeah, I can't remember where I read it, but I read recently that emotions need motion. And I think that that's really insightful and helpful. And there's just a lot of freedom in identifying, but then also giving voice to our emotions. And I think that that's one of the unique opportunities for us in this time, is really learning a healthy process for grief and identifying sadness, sorrow, maybe some anger that we're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And just as I've talked with my own GC, as I've talked with other people, it seems like there is kind of this underground grief that we feel, but we don't necessarily know how to name it. And I think this is just a great opportunity for the people of Jesus to really learn, what does it look like to grieve well, and to really give voice to that grief.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a good place to kind of interject that, like, that's, you know, as a church, as elders, as staff of Mosaic Church, some of that is, if you guys are struggling with stuff, that's what we're here for, to talk about that, to talk through that. If there's counseling that is needed around that, we're here to assist with that as well. So don't hesitate to talk to us about those things, because A, that's part of why we're here, and B, we're also feeling them. And I think that's important to voice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's end like this. I want to circle back to Kyle on one of the things we have coming up this summer that I know you're really excited about. I am as well. Summer book club.
Yeah.
What is that going to look like, and what's your vision for it?
Yeah. So thanks. So you might have been hearing John talk and be like, well, but I'm not in a GC, but I'd love to be connected with other people, thinking through things together and talking through things together and just having time together. And so as we went into the summer, we thought, what is something that people like to do in the summer, and what is something that people aspire to have done more, which is reading. I recently did an Instagram poll. My wife showed me how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. So that's my confession. But I did an Instagram poll and asked the question, I would like to read more, yes or no? And out of, I think, the 500 people that submitted a response, 494 of them said, yes, I would like to read more than I do. And so I think that a lot of people want to read, and yet sometimes it's hard to read and have nobody to talk about something with. And so we're going to orient around a few books this summer in kind of different spaces. And you'll hear about those coming up in the next few weeks. We'll start them in June, and they'll go from June and July. So it'll be 8 weeks in the summer, and there will be 4 meetups for each of those books. So like if you were reading, so for example, I'm going to be doing this book, Gentle and Lowly, which is a fantastic book. It's incredible. I would say it's a must-read book on who Jesus is and what he has done. And it's relatively short, and it's very accessible. The chapters are 5 to 6 pages long. And so I'll be reading this. And so for my group, we'll probably do like 3 or 4 meetups over the course of the summer, maybe in person if we can, but maybe not, and maybe on video. And we'll just talk about what we're reading here. And it'll give us an opportunity. And this is for anybody in the life of Mosaic, outside the life of Mosaic, in this community. And so we'll have at least 4, possibly 5 books that we're doing this summer. And I'm going to encourage people, hey, if you want to jump in and have time talking through big ideas and have some good conversation and some summer reading, then we want to be able to help with that. So I'm excited. I think a few of the other ones that I can announce are Max Steiner will be doing one on D.A. Carson's fantastic book called The God Who Is There. Antonia is going to be doing Hannah Anderson's incredible book, Made for More. And then Stephen, Clardy, and John are still working on which books they're going to be leading, but they'll have something. So yeah, you'll hear a lot about that in the next few weeks. We'd love for you to jump in if you want.
It's great. And I think that's a good place to just remind everybody that stuff like that is invitation. It's not obligation. We are really excited about not only doing that, but also just our prayer night and our Wednesday night rhythm. We're going to start getting into, like Kyle mentioned off the top, a more, I don't want to say more consistent, because we have been consistent, but a more specific cadence on Wednesday nights. And those are important nights. The prayer night, look, this is a time of need for prayer. Kyle has mentioned that in his sermons, and it's really important. And those Wednesday nights have been such a blessing and so joyful to those who have jumped on and prayed with us. So we invite you into that, and we would love to worship with you in that way later on this week.
Yeah. What we got?
Cool.
Thanks, Kyle.